Hi, I'm Will Ross with Burn the Ship, a business podcast for business owners, entrepreneurs, and leaders. Today I've got my guest here, Jeff Schrader with Impact Sign and Design. That's a little bit of a tongue twister. Impact Sign and Design.
Yeah, it
there we
can
go.
be. Yeah, it
Got
rolls.
it. Got it. Look forward to hearing your story, your journey. I know that you've been in the sign business for
Yeah,
many
well
years.
over more than half my life.
Okay.
Probably, God, probably close to 23, 24 years.
Is that right? Okay.
Yeah. Started off between like 19, 20 years old.
Yep.
Didn't do too good in college, so kind of my dad told me, it's like, hey, it's cheaper for you to fail here, which sounds harsh, but it was definitely true, and I definitely wasn't doing what I could, and he just kind of knew I could do more.
Sure.
So ended up getting a call from one of my friends, and he was like, hey, I can probably get you a job over at this sign shop. So I was like, oh, okay. Didn't think much of it.
Right.
Went over there, started at 19 or 20 years old, making $8 an hour
Yep.
out there digging holes. Then eventually just started kind of working myself up, not even on purpose, had no intentions of staying in it, but there's always a joke in the industry that once you start, you become a lifer. And that'd be like, yeah, I'm going back to school. And they'd be like, you better hurry up, man. You better hurry up. You're going to become a lifer. So, yeah, needless to say, I became a lifer, at least for now. And kind of stayed at that place for about 20 years
Okay.
overall.
Was that here in Atlanta or Georgia?
Yeah, it was over there in Norcross.
Okay.
And then it got bought out, and kind of just after a little bit, kind of knew I needed to
Yeah.
change the scenery, which was either go to another place, not know what kind of pull I would have or anything like that. Maybe starting from the bottom, which is something I didn't really want to do.
Of course.
Or other alternative is do something completely different,
Right.
not know what I'd be making. Take a couple year vacation, which actually sounds kind of nice, and go through my 401k, which probably doesn't sound like a bad thing to do, but I would regret that now.
Yeah.
Or start up a place. So we started up with a couple other people. And that's a little bit over about 2.5 years ago.
2.5 years. Yep.
So it's been quite an experience. Yeah, it's actually been pretty freaking awesome. All in
love
all,
that.
a lot of stress and
Yeah.
a lot of hard work and a lot of that stuff. But just overall, it's just really been a great experience. Something I'll at some point be able to look back at and hopefully be proud. So,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I can see it just in your facial expression as it kind of shifts there, thinking about that moment in time to like the last 2.5 years. Like it's different.
Well, it's like
Yeah.
when we first started, I'd get calls from customers that I worked with before, and it was just like you'd hear the excitement in their voice, and they'd be cheering for you. And you'd get off the phone sometimes, and it'd just be like, I don't know, you get a little emotional
Yeah.
because you don't really know what people think of you. You know, you can have these relationships with people, but you don't really know until I think really until you hear it from them when you're
Right. A
out
moment
there on
like
your
this,
own.
right?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
all the cards are on the table, I guess
Yep.
is probably the best way to put it. But like a lot of them have my back. I've you know, when they're cheering for you, they believe in you. It means all the
Absolutely.
everything in the world. You know, I had a guy call me and he was like, "Where the F have you been?" And
Yeah.
I was just like, "I love that."
Yeah,
And it's like,
absolutely.
absolutely love that. But like, we have great customers. I got some that literally recommend us for everything
Yep.
under the sun, which has helped us grow quite a bit.
Absolutely.
So we don't do a lot of advertising. So a lot of it's word of mouth and
Mm-hmm.
just past relationships and just building on relationships. So the relationships has been like the big thing that's got us to where we're at
Absolutely.
right now. And then mixed in obviously with the hard work from everybody on our side, the employees and everything like that. Just truly blessed on all that.
Absolutely. So you, I mean, not to be cheesy here, but you've made an impact, right? And that's what comes
Yeah,
back
there
to
you
from
go,
those
man.
people.
I was expecting him to do the little drum thing over there on the side, but you know he missed it. You can edit that.
But that, I mean, that I think is such a critical component of any business to be successful, right? There's got to be something that you're doing that differentiates yourself. It may be an attitude, it may be a conversation, it may be what you actually, the product that you're putting in front. But
I think it's a kind of a mixture of everything. It's like I like to say, if you take care of your employees will take care of your customers.
Yep.
And then it's which one's more important. Customers, employees are both equally important.
Sure.
You do which came first, chicken or the egg. It's
Right.
just it's kind of like that. I think customer service plays a huge role in it.
critical.
You know, if we get an email or a phone call, it's like you respond back as quickly as you can. Try to keep the ball in their court, and most of the time everything will work out. that way. But yeah, I think that's pretty much the key to everything.
Absolutely. Yeah, communication is absolutely key. And I mean, it's also a huge component of what you're doing, right? I mean, you guys ultimately are, to some degree, you're assisting folks probably with their marketing, their advertising,
Yeah,
with permanent advertisements, right?
yeah.
And how, they're presenting themselves either to a community or to a, I don't know, maybe a client, or I know that neighborhoods are a big thing that you guys do a lot of. And so, like, what kind of goes into that sort of a conversation when you're having that for the first time with a client? Like, how do you, you've got this neighborhood, it's in this kind of area, this sort of a sign may look better based on the type of trees, or what type of, give a
A
little
lot of
detail.
it's honestly is kind of step and repeat. They're want a main entry sign out there kind of before they're building. So it's like you have that. Sometimes you got to figure out what size is actually allowed.
Sure.
It's like some of these places they get actually kind of ridiculous on what
The
they, I guess,
stipulations.
don't allow.
Yeah.
Well, it's like like even right around the corner from here, like in Dallas, they have a thing where it's like, okay, you can put up a 4x4 sign, but it can only be 5 feet tall. Has to be, right away might be 100 feet. Then there'd be like, but you have to get a permit every single month for this sign. And then after 6 months, you have to remove the sign. And then you can come back a month after that and reapply. And it's like, it doesn't make any sense. It's like, just let them keep the sign up.
Sure.
It's like, they're going to sell homes. That's going to bring money in
To the
to the
community.
city.
Yep.
Yeah, to everybody. But yet they
Tax
have
dollars.
these stipulations sometimes that kind of do that. And some aren't bad at all and some are. So the
Never
basis,
thought about that before. It's funny the things you don't think about until you
yeah,
hear about them.
yeah, it gets kind of weird sometimes, but like I said, it's like some places are worse than others.
Sure.
Some are really lenient and they have an understanding. So generally, that's kind of how it will start, and then they start building the subdivision. And if for some of the customers, we'll do the street signs as well. So you
Okay.
have to have the street signs up kind of before they start building the houses, for more or less for like deliveries and if somebody happens to live there, 911,
Yep.
which can be kind of interesting.
Yeah. That's
So
wild to
it's
think
like,
about, yeah.
well, there's kind of a funny story on that one. This is probably like 15, 20. Well, I say funny. I don't know how funny it is, but we were doing some signs at a golf course, and I guess that we hadn't installed the street signs yet. And I think there ended up being a dead body buried like underneath one of the
Oh,
one of
no.
the holes.
Okay.
And I think the FBI called and was wondering which street that was on, something like
There are
that.
no
So
street signs yet.
yeah, so it gets kind of weird sometimes. But yeah, so generally you have street signs, and then you have your sales center or directionals
Yep.
leading you to the sales center. And then a lot of times we'll do the interior for the sales centers, which could be really anything under the sun. It could be just pictures of whatever
model
they're trying to
home. Yeah.
help,
Yeah.
if they got amenities and things
Yep.
of that nature. And then another thing that we do sometimes for some of our builders is their monument sign, which like the big brick, the entrance sign. We might
That's
do the
called a
actual
monument sign.
sign.
Okay.
Yeah. Some of the stuff like we don't do the brickwork.
Sure.
We got a couple people that we do. I think we were asked once to do the brickwork, but
Yeah.
try not to get too uncomfortable yet on
I
it.
feel you. Yeah.
so-
Stay in your lane on those.
Yeah, exactly.
So from the installation side and then the design side, like how much design are you guys doing? I mean, it seems like that'd be a pretty big part, or
It varies because a lot of them will do kind of the same look, and occasionally you get something that's a little bit different. But for the most part, everything's pretty cut and dry. You might have some stuff that requires a little bit more design work and stuff like that. But in a lot of cases, they're do it and we're just make it. Or, there's a lady we do who does some graphic design. She's extremely
Okay.
creative mind, like, and I love it. It's like
Yep.
we get to do some really cool signs because, like I said, of like a lot of stuff step and repeat. But when you can do stuff that's a little bit different,
Absolutely.
it like you can take a step back and be proud for a minute. And she'll do like these 3D logos that kind of come off the signs and
Okay.
everything. They just always look good. They're a pain in the ass to do sometimes.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's like it's really cool to see the finished product
Absolutely.
on that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I know in the design world too, it's one of those things that you get for what you pay for, right? You know what I mean? So sometimes that tedious, that long design, it can be expensive, but what you get at the end, it really can pop off.
Yeah,
and
it
it's
really
pretty
can.
amazing.
It's like, the mind is a pretty amazing thing. And some of
Truly.
these people, like how they get so freaking creative, I have no idea.
Right.
But I'm glad that they're there.
Me too.
I really
Me too. Yeah. And even little stuff. I mean, folks are pretty familiar with like the FedEx emblem and how it has the arrow in it, and like other sort of
yeah.
like creative sort of just branding within your logo is such a I think it's something that people are more aware of now, and like they want that. They want that uniqueness. I mean, you even have like golfers now who have their little initials on their hat, or like just how they brand themselves. So it's a critical piece of just what is now business.
Yeah, you're absolutely right on that. Yeah, and a lot of like you're saying, like a lot of logos, like you can see, it's like everybody knows the Starbucks logo,
Right? Yeah.
The McDonald's arches and stuff like that, which is, obviously that's like a big time thing. So.
For sure. Have you seen I think these guys have been doing it's a YouTube sort of, they're building probably an audience, but they go to all these different nations, and I mean they don't speak the language, they don't do anything, but they say McDonald's, and then like they're like there or McDonald, and it's like that kind of like thing that unites these people with like, because everybody knows McDonald's, which is an amazing thing to think about. That's built from a sign that's a brand.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, and like Coke is the same way.
Exactly.
See, but if I was in marketing with Coke, I wouldn't even freaking market Coke. I would save God knows how much money, because everybody already knows what a Coke is.
Yeah, that's
it's
true.
Like if you go to a place, you're like, hey, can I get a Coke? We just have Pepsi. Oh, okay.
Right.
But but everybody knows what a Coke is, so
They
it's
do.
like I wouldn't be wasting any money on advertising at all. I really wouldn't. And it's just like, sorry, their marketing people would be out of business if I was in charge there. But But obviously they know what they're doing because they make a freaking killing. So
they do. They absolutely do.
but-
Yeah, it's that's one of those big brands for sure. So talk to us a little bit more about like what before we started recording today, we're talking a little bit about just kind of the cool things that you can do, right? But like
Yeah.
what technology or just kind of like the newness or like some of the emerging sort of like trends within the sign design kind of industry.
They got we have this flatbed printer it pretty much it can print on really about anything up to about 2 inches or so in thickness. So it's
Oh,
like
really?
you could pull your door off and we could
Really?
print whatever image you wanted in on that.
Okay.
That's our really cool piece of technology, I think, is that like I'll mess around with it. When we first got it,
Sure.
it was a freaking toy. It's like I was up there till like midnight drinking a handful of beers and just messing with this damn thing, just seeing what it could do.
Yeah.
And it's like, it could do like raise. So it's like this logo that you got here. It's like you could do a print and you could have it to where it raised the letters up some so that it'd
Really?
be like a textured feel.
Yeah.
It's like a 2.5D is what they have it as, but it's like, so it could be all raised in different levels and stuff like that.
That is cool.
It's like just messing around with it. I printed like over a bowl of water and it printed on top of the water.
Really?
Yeah, and it was just like, it's nothing special. It serves zero freaking purpose other than it being cool as shit.
Yeah.
So it's like, but it's just has this little layer on it, and it's just like you can press on it, and then you can just end up ripping it off. But it does a lot of cool things. It will do like print on reverse on like acrylic, so that you can have like your image and a white background on there, and it just really kind of pops.
Yeah, absolutely.
But like a lot of that stuff, like the technology is just, I don't know. I don't know, understand how any of it's actually done. I guess
Right.
we got like Roswell aliens to thank for, because that's when stuff really started going around. But how you can literally take an image off a computer and then be like, okay, you're going to print this on this printer and it's going to know exactly where to put it.
Right.
It's absolutely amazing. And it just keeps increasing all the time. So it's like kind of what we're end up doing is pretty much every 3 to 5 years probably we're end up getting some type of new equipment just to try to keep up with all
Sure.
the technology of
got to.
everything like that. I don't know what else they can possibly come up with that can top some of the stuff that they have, but I'm sure they're thinking of something.
Right.
But to me, that's like the absolute favorite one. I probably should have brought some samples here for you to see. Maybe I'll stop by next time I'm in the area just so you can. I'll print you up a logo or something like that and just bring
please.
it up here.
This one was an interesting one. I ultimately tried to print it out, and then we did the reverse kind of iron deal, and I screwed it up royally. And then so we had some, actually Shelly over there came and painted over it for us.
Yeah, well, I think
it is what it is.
Well, I would hire Shelly. You, I don't know.
No,
That's
I'm out, man. I'm the insurance guy.
But that stuff's actually kind of neat though. But I'd love to actually do. I wish we actually kind of did T-shirts. I don't know how much money's in there, but
Right.
I don't know. T-shirts are fun. I'd just be making stupid shit all day long
Yeah.
if I did T-shirts. I wouldn't accomplish anything at all.
And that was the last we heard of Jeff at Impact.
Yeah, pretty much, man. Pretty much. It's like, I really do. I get a kick out of that kind of stuff. But yeah, I think you end up having to have school and church accounts and all that kind of stuff under the sun. But
Yep.
maybe when I retire, so we'll see.
There you go. There you
Yeah.
go. So talk to me a little bit more. One of the things I like to is there's in most folks' journeys they've had, and maybe it was your dad saying like it's cheaper for you to quit, right? But there's kind of been those individuals that have been either mentors or just kind of the pillars of just like a sounding board.
Yeah.
How has that been a part of your life? Has it?
Man, I'll tell you what, it's like probably the two most important people that kind of like got me to where I think I'm at just off advice and stuff like that was probably honestly my dad, and then this other guy, Dick, who was he was an owner at the shop
Your
at
prior
one
shop.
point when I worked there.
Yeah.
And it was I've never had an issue like working or anything like
Right.
that. But I kind of would have I was kind of immature in my early 20s, I guess is how I'll put it. But it's like even my dad saying the stuff on like failing and this and that. It's like, but he always believed in me.
Right.
And the other person that believed in me was the Dick guy. And it's like, when the economy crashed, in what was it,
08.
2000? Yeah.
Yep.
So in '08, it's like a lot of the real estate went down, completely like wiped out everything.
I didn't think about
Yeah.
that impacting you that way, but
Yeah,
it would
it was
100%
huge.
Yeah.
Like we dropped so far in sales, and the manager there at the time, he was trying to get him to take a pay cut, and he wasn't going to. So he ended up getting let go, and I got put in charge, and I had no idea any of that was happening. It like came out of nowhere. That guy ended up starting up his own sign shop. So we had like 2 employees at that point, the owner and the owner's wife, and that was just like an interesting turning point because it's like, one, I was like, holy crap, what the hell? Like I always kind of thought I could do it,
Right.
but I didn't really
didn't think
believe in
about-
myself, to be
Yeah.
honest. So it's like to have that guy believe in me, and I was like, I couldn't fail, like can't fail. And it's like that's not an option.
I love that.
Well, it's like you just to have somebody believe in you. Like I don't
100%.
think people realize how important that actually
critical.
is.
It's critical.
And it's like it really does mean the world. And like looking back, and it's like even I still talk to that guy today, and it's like I'll tell him just what he meant to me, and it's like I'll tear up a little bit talking
Yeah.
to him, and he knows he's like my second dad.
Yeah.
And it's like my dad was like my best friend and everything under the sun to me. So it's like to compare that guy to him it really means a lot. But they both always believed in me, and it's like one of my biggest fears is letting people down. And it's like a lot of the customers I deal with, I have a hard time saying no, and I
Yeah.
probably have only said no to a handful. Like you probably talked to one of them I worked with for 10, 15 years. She'd be like, yeah, I think you told me no one time maybe. And it's like, I try not to do it. It's like, if we can make something happen, we'll make it happen. And
Yep.
they know that I'll always do it. But yeah, those 2 people believing in me definitely was like the biggest thing. And it's something I don't forget. I don't take any of it for granted. I try to pass that on to even a handful of my employees, because it's
Absolutely.
like, it takes a lot, to run a place right, to be successful, to get the job done properly. It's never just one person. It's a team, and I got a great team. At least my core is really great, and I can count on them for everything. They have my back. I got theirs. But yeah, going back to that, yeah, a guy named Dick and my dad.
That's
two
great.
best, biggest influences.
So, and to kind of, jump on top of that as well. So would you say you've had to burn the ship moment? Would it be that kind of 2.5 years ago when you went and got
I
together
think
with these guys?
I
your
would say that
partners?
would definitely be accurate.
Okay.
And it kind of goes back to the whole saying of like, if I had to go somewhere else, then what would I be? Where would I be at? Would I be starting at the bottom? So, in me, pretty much, I didn't have tons of money, so it's like, but I had invested in stock market. It's like
Okay.
one of them had set us up actually when everything crashed, which
Yeah.
was horrible for God knows how many other people.
Right.
Me, I was buying stuff dirt low.
Yeah, it was a great time.
Like
if you
it
had a
was
little
it was
bit.
so
Yep.
freaking cheap. So it's like, end up doing that, end up getting like Apple stock. I got that like
Did
at
you really?
$99.
Sweet.
And then it got up to like $5.25, and
Yeah.
it did the split.
Yep.
And so that's how I came up with my portion of the business, was
Okay.
that. So it was like, yeah, so I was willing to put in any amount of money that I had, whatever it took.
Yep.
And that's just, it's kind of cool when you think about it. It's like I sold some of my Apple stock to invest in myself.
Yeah.
And it's like, am I better than Apple? Probably. But
If you don't believe it, right?
nah,
Like you
yeah,
gotta
but
do
it's
it.
like, yeah, exactly. So it's like, that part was kind of cool. But yeah, it was an all or nothing on this
Right.
one. No turning back.
Yeah.
Do what it takes. I work some crazy ass hours,
Yeah.
but it's like, yeah, you got to do what it takes to succeed. You have people that count on you, whether it's the employees counting on getting a paycheck or having continued work. And then you have your customers that believed in you too, which honestly, I can't say enough about them. They believed in me, so you can't let them down.
Right.
So it goes back to the biggest fear of letting people down.
Yeah.
So I have employees, customers, can't let any of them down. So that's pretty much, no turning back.
I love it. That's the business model,
Yep.
I hear you.
Well, it's like if you do that, it's like customer service, going back on that. It's like, look at like, I don't know, hopefully you're a Publix shopper. I don't know if you are or not.
I appreciate some Publix,
but,
yeah.
But it's like Publix, their customer service is great.
It
Chick-fil-A customer service
Absolutely.
is great. But people don't realize that Chick-fil-A actually probably has the slowest drive-through out of anybody. But you don't notice that because their customer service is so
Right.
good. So,
Right.
It's
it's Chick-fil-A that's a beast over
yeah.
there.
And it's like it's probably the one fast food place you can actually trust these days.
Right. It's true. You don't mind actually paying your whatever it is, $20 for a meal or two.
Yeah, I don't know. I still mind, but still.
It's so expensive these days. So you kind of nailed it, right? My next question is, what differentiates you guys at Impact Sign and Design versus your competitors, right? There's plenty of design companies out there.
So many.
And it sounds like it has a lot to do with your attitude.
Yeah,
right?
but I didn't realize there's how many sign companies there were until I started working at one.
Really?
Then I started driving around and be like, holy crap, man, these things are everywhere. I think what makes us different is I think our customer service is great. I think we put a good product out at a fair price. I'm not out to try to rip off anybody.
Right.
I'm honest with the customers.
Sure.
It's like, say they want something that's like, or just say a bulletin board that's going up in a swim pool thing. It's like, to me, I'm like, hey, you can order this and we'll just install it so you can save some money, or I'll order it for you or mark it up 10%.
Right.
And go do it. I don't have to tell them that. I could be like, hey, I'm marking this up 100%, not say anything about it, and just do it. And they wouldn't know anything. They wouldn't care. But I try to be fair. I don't want to rip anybody off. But
that brings them back too. You know what I mean? I think trust is the biggest piece of like being successful, right? You want those people to either recommend you, or the next time they need that same thing, to come back to you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think I think that's mainly what it is all of that. I have employees that care, so that plays a big factor too. They'll go out and they'll make sure the job's done right. Or if we do mess up, because it does happen, then we try to go back as fast as we can and get it fixed. You'd actually be amazed that sometimes if we make a mistake, if we go get it fixed that quickly, they don't even care. They'll actually be more happy that you are willing to go out there and fix it that fast versus the actual mistake at hand.
Sure.
And I think that speaks to the whole relationship factor.
Absolutely.
Which, I don't know. Sometimes I'd be pretty pissed. But
I think a lot of people can understand. I mean, we all make mistakes. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And I think it's one of those things. It's how do you manage that? How do you respond? The mistake is not the issue. It's what's the response? How do you fix it?
Yeah.
And if you have the right attitude and you go out, most people just want to be heard. You know what I mean? Like, you can de-escalate a lot of elevated, angry people by just saying like, I'm sorry, that was our bad. Let me fix it for you. And like, oh, cool. I don't have to fight for this, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Luckily, I haven't got my ass chewed out too many times. Sometimes they happen. Not too often, though. It really is rare. Like, honestly, it's like, as most of them know, like you're saying, everybody makes mistakes.
Sure.
You just got to get that damn thing fixed
That's
quickly.
it. That's
and you
it.
hope it's a minimal mistake, too, is the other part.
Right.
So,
right. Yeah, you didn't put their competitor's phone number on there or something wrong, right?
Yeah, that's bad.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a good one.
That one probably wouldn't be too good.
So tell me a little bit about what you do outside of work.
Oh, God.
Is there
time?
something? I know. Well, did you do an Ironman?
I did it's a relay.
Okay.
I got to do the run part of it.
Did you really?
Yeah.
All right.
Maybe
so
I'll get into the
impressive.
other stuff. I've only done, well, I've rode on a cycle one time. Have you ever gone cycling before?
A little, but not a ton.
How'd
no.
that seat feel?
Not good, brother.
Yeah,
not
that
good.
seat, I'll tell you what. The seat was not fun. So I did that one time, and I didn't realize how difficult that was. My friends took me down in Florida, like kind of around like Casey Key, which is just like a beautiful, it's like $1 million homes. I think
Yep.
that's like where Stephen King lives and stuff like that. But it's just like you have a road, and then you got the $1 million house one side and the water right there on the other. Absolutely beautiful. So I've done cycling one time, but I did almost 58 miles the one time I did it
Okay.
on that seat that's uncomfortable as hell. Then I
Yeah.
didn't realize your shoes click in and out, which is extremely difficult to mess with, and you look like something happened to you
Yeah.
on yours. So
Yeah.
yeah, so it's like I think I've almost had to break a couple different times and almost hurt myself probably a couple times on that. But yeah, this was a Augusta half Ironman. One of my best friends, she does all that kind of stuff, swims
Okay.
competitively. She's done a couple Ironmans and stuff like that. So she was doing a half one there, and some of her other friends were doing a relay one, so I got to do the run part, which ended up not being a lot of fun because I had tested positive for COVID like 10 days
perfect.
before.
Nice. You're
And I
nice
don't know if you
trained.
had COVID,
Oh,
but
yeah.
God, that shit
All
will
right.
freaking tear up your freaking lungs.
It does, man. Yeah. It's
So I ended
breathing.
up getting, God, my friend will laugh at this one if this makes it on there. So it's like I'm running and I got my towel over my head and stuff like that, and I just feel like dog shit.
Yeah.
And I hear somebody saying, okay, this for this way, this for that way. And I'm just following the person in front of me. So I end up passing the finish line at the halfway point, and they're trying to give me like a medal and this crap. And I'm just like, no, 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 no. I made a wrong turn. I need to get back on there. So I end up doing an extra mile. So added on that. So yeah.
So how many total miles would it regularly been?
It would have been 13-1 on that one.
Okay,
Instead, I
so you
did
did
a
almost
14-1.
almost 15.
Yeah, I get lost everywhere I go. So
You're a GPS guy. I'm a GPS guy.
yeah, but even then, it's like every once in a while I have my doubts on the GPS. I was like, are you actually right? Or is this accurate? Or I'm also one of those guys that I'll be like, that's my turn? And I'll be looking at it while I'm doing 55 miles per hour
Yeah,
down. Then
I know that. Yeah.
make my U-turn.
If I don't have the voice commanding me, then I'm gonna miss the turn.
Yeah,
You
I'm
know,
kind of known for that.
Yeah.
For getting lost everywhere. So not a lot of free time. I do try to do. I run whether in the morning or at night, depending on if I have time. If I'm not getting enough sleep, then I'll try to get that extra hour of sleep.
Sure.
If not, then I'll just try to run at night. So I enjoy doing that. It's a good stress relief.
It is.
It's actually good for mental health too, I think.
Massively.
I like the whole concept of one foot in front of the other.
Yep.
It's like, you figure that out if you're going however many miles and stuff like that and you want to quit. It's just a great thing of like one foot in front of the other, one foot in front of the other. And you can go on for God knows how long. But no, that's a lot of fun. Not a whole lot of free time at all. I guess it would be spending time with family and friends.
Sure.
That's not even too often either. It seems like it's about a 6 to 7 day a week job for the most part. So, and long hours, early morning to sometimes late at night.
And you guys are doing work in Atlanta, Georgia, Alabama, South Carolina.
We've done a little bit in Alabama, a little bit in South Carolina, but I tried pulling back when we first started doing that. It was when we first opened, and I didn't know what we were going to have from a customer standpoint.
Yep.
So you take what you can get.
100%. Yeah.
And then you try to pull back some. And as we've gotten bigger, because we do work for like some of the biggest builders, and like our account is pretty amazing, to be honest with you. So as we started getting bigger, it's like kind of started getting away from the Alabama and South Carolina. We'll do some that's kind of right there on the border sometimes. Sure. And it's like we did start doing Chattanooga recently for one of the customers. Just because we're already doing Perry, Georgia, down there in Macon, which is about the same distance driving, but still in Georgia.
Yeah.
But yeah, they keep going further and further out.
Right. Which is the spread of Atlanta, and would you say your primary niche, if you will, within the industry is residential communities?
Yes,
for the most part.
Yeah.
I mean, you obviously have some outliers that are in there, but that's kind of
for the most part, yeah. We pretty much are mostly residential, and a lot of that. And we'll kind of grow, and then we'll start taking on some more of the commercial type stuff. Because one of the big things when we were starting was finding a space that would actually take us.
Yeah.
And that ended up being like one of the biggest freaking headaches. It's like, everything else is in line, just finding a place. And some of these places they would want like 3 years rent up front, which is just like kind of absurd.
Yeah, it's a chunk of change for sure.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where you kind of wish that you could have a little bit more pull as far as being able to or opportunity, I guess would probably be the better word, as far as being able to start a business, but that's just kind of how it works. So we ended up having to settle on a place that was a little bit smaller, but it was the only one that took us, and we ended up getting a really good deal on it. But we've already grown out of that.
Yeah.
So now it's like I'm hoping, and the guy next door, he might be moving soon, so we might double our space here soon, or we might end up having to find a spot that's honestly double or triple our space, just so we can, well, because we're growing, but we need to have the space in order to grow.
What part of the city are you guys in now?
Peachtree Corners.
Yes, that's right. Okay.
Yeah, kind of right there on the Peachtree Corners Norcross area.
Yep.
So that's kind of where we're at now. And we honestly have a lot of endless potential. It's like one of the other owners, he's like an engineer, so that will open up the doors with doing a lot of different signs for different buildings and stuff like that, like the lighted signs.
Yep.
More of that. But we got to have space even to get more lighted sign equipment in there. And then as far as real estate goes, it's like I'm pretty sure I could go out there and probably get close to double on that, and just kind of continue on that. But then you got to weigh out the risks of everything as far as getting too big and then making sure you have the right people, because that's like that's
you
like
meet
a fear of
expectations
mine.
of your client.
Yeah,
100%.
it's like, because that's a fear, because it's like, when you see a lot of these companies, they end up getting too big, the quality of work goes down, or higher, whatever walks through the door. You don't know, you can't keep your eyes on everything, and that's quality at some point has to still matter during all of that.
Absolutely.
Versus money. It's like, I think we're going back even talking on like McDonald's, like, McDonald's, like the two brothers when they started that, they were big on quality. I think they actually didn't even want to open up that many locations whatsoever.
I think you're correct. Yeah.
And then I think the one guy ended up coming in, and he ended up becoming a franchisee guy, and then they kind of explode. Obviously, what the other guy did was right for their billion-dollar freaking company.
Right.
But still, it's not what the brothers, I think, envisioned. It's like, they wanted to do a good product, still make money, but actually keep the quality there.
Right.
And,
we could question quality at this point, but you can pretty much get that. You know what to expect. You know what I mean at McDonald's. Now, what's in it? We'll leave that out.
Well,
there,
yeah,
but
I don't think their dream was to make a burger that could, I guess survive a nuclear blast.
Yeah, I think I saw
still
something
look
the
the
other
same.
day. It was like from 2000. Have you seen the one that's in the glass case from like 2007? And there's nothing. It just looks like a burger.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah,
a little scary.
and it's like, hey, let's put that in our stomach.
Yeah.
But all that's kind of amazing,
It is. It is. Well,
you
that's
can
where
pour
we're
a
at.
Coke on a battery to clean it off, but put that in my stomach.
Put that in your body.
It's kind of amazing.
Man, it's crazy when you look at it. Yeah, and I love a Coke. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
But
so
I've
do
had
I.
to cut them out. But man, now when I get them, it's a treat. So
Yeah,
I just enjoy it.
I'll have like a little bit of one just every once in a while,
Yeah,
just a little bit.
Yeah,
because
I'm
it
with it.
really does taste damn good. But then I try to have that vision of the battery getting cleaned, and
That or the one with the amount of sugar that's in there.
oh
and
god,
it's insane.
yeah, that's actually scary.
It's
It
wild.
actually kind of makes you wonder how it's even keeps liquid form with all that.
You and me both.
Yeah. I know obviously it dissolves, but still, it's like that's a lot of freaking
It's a little
dissolving to
tough.
do.
Yeah, you gotta get that nice and warm, right?
Yeah, it's like a freaking fat bag of Ziploc bag of sugar.
I think I can see that in my mind's eye right now, just like that comparison of a diet versus a regular, and I don't know what the others. Maybe it was a Gatorade that they had done. But
Yeah.
It's insane. It's insane. Well, you kind of got ahead of me on my next question of what's next, but it's growth, right? And it's taking growth at the right pace, so that you can continue to deliver that product your customer knows.
Yeah, that's one of the tough things. It's like kind of when we started was taking on, knowing what customers we could take on from being able to afford to pay for all the stuff. So that was like kind of a chess match in my head, I guess, on some of that stuff.
Yeah.
Just not getting, because I think we actually grew too fast.
Right.
So we had to play some catch up and stuff like that. But that will end up being one of the main goals will be, yes, growth and just kind of expanding into more of the commercial stuff, and maybe going after more of the real estate stuff, because we'll do some monuments for some customers and not for others, but I could go after the monuments for the other stuff. And then they have like these CBUs, cluster mailboxes and stuff like that. And it could be going after more of those than just the customers we do them for now. But in doing so, you have to learn kind of more of the processing. Like the CBUs are actually like, I don't know how often you have to deal with a post office, but dealing with a post office can be difficult. They're nice people,
Yeah.
but understaffed, and getting responses back
Yeah,
on
go out
some
of my
of that
way
stuff.
to go to the more rural post offices normally because it's there. You don't have the line, you don't have the attitude of the customers a lot of times.
I'll tell you what, man, because there is one. It's like sometimes there might be a lost key or something like
Right.
that. I did one down in Atlanta somewhere, and it took me 19 trips to the post office for them to change out one lock. And it's like,
Really?
so there's a lot of stuff. And thank God well, honestly, like, thank God I had help from somebody on giving me advice on what to actually deal with, or I'd have been freaking lost.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been scary. But no, overall goal, yeah, growth, but at a pace that we can tolerate, I guess. And then honestly, it's like the goal is I want to take care of the employees, the ones that helped us get here. So it's like my end goal will be retiring, but then giving part of the business to the employees that helped me get here and that put in all the hours and that do all the hard work. I just think that's important to take care of them.
Yeah.
And just to let them know that it's like, man, this place is just as much as yours as it is mine.
100%.
So I think, and speaking for the other owner too, it's like, that's like a big deal, is to take care of the employees. So, with growth, hopefully we'll become reward for those that helped us get
I mean,
there.
we hear it over and over here. It's, take care of your employees so that they can take care of your customers.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And really that peace of mind and knowing that I'm going into a place that cares for me and is looking out for my best interest every day allows for me to be that much better for those that I'm serving, right?
Yeah.
And it matters.
Yeah, and and a handful of them I've worked with for a good bit of time. So it's like we know each other. It's like, I know they say not to say family with employees and stuff like that, but it's like we are.
Yeah.
And it's like, we got probably 4 or 5 of us that are, we've known each other forever. It's like one guy I've worked with for over 20 something years, and it's like that guy's everybody's favorite at the shop. He's just a goofy ass son of a whatever, but he's freaking
culture,
hilarious.
right?
But it's like but we all care about each other.
Yep.
Like we really do. And if there's ever any issues as far as, if somebody needs more money or this and that, it's like, we want to take care of them. And it's like we try to. And hopefully as we continue to grow, it's like, we can start adding in like the 401k and paying towards health insurance. And honestly, either giving them a percentage of the business or doing a profit share will kind of be like the kind of the options there on the table. But it's like, it's important to give. It's important to show appreciation. Showing appreciation is like one of the best things, honestly, you can do. But you have to actually mean it. It's like if you're just saying it just out of habit, it's like that ain't worth a shit.
Yep.
But if you say it and they know you mean it, then it will go a long ways.
Absolutely. People feel that. I mean, you can't fake that genuineness.
Yeah,
that's a fact.
Absolutely.
Well, tell us this. So, how do we get in touch with you? Are you guys on social media? I know you have a website.
Yeah, we got pretty much our website of impact sign .design.
And it's .design.
Yeah.
How does that work?
I have no effing idea.
It's so cool though.
I don't know.
Like, where's the .com on this thing?
Whenever,
it's just
I don't
.design.
know, because my email's the same way.
Yeah.
My email is like jeff@impactsign.design.
Yeah.
So it's like God knows how much work I miss out on by that .com not being there. But
Maybe,
but no, it's kind of one of those things where I have no idea.
Okay.
I can't take credit for that.
Okay.
But yeah, I think it just ended up just happening.
Great. Well, there's a lot of great examples of the type of work you guys do on your website. I did look through it, and
I appreciate that.
So find them there. Impact.design. Impactsign.design. And that's all I got. Is there anything else you'd like to share with the audience today?
No, honestly, just thank you to the customers. I appreciate all of your help over the years and your patience and just guiding us through. Us being inexperienced at first, trying to figure out stuff, whether it be billing or how to set up stuff properly. It's like we were a deer in freaking headlights on a lot of that stuff. So it's like I appreciate all their patience. I appreciate them believing in us, and the same thing with the employees. Just appreciate all your hard work that got us here, and just thank you, everybody. It's like we truly mean it. So thank you.
I love it. Well, I've enjoyed my time with you, Jeff.
Yeah.
I appreciate sharing your story with me. And I look forward to future conversations together.
Awesome. Thanks, Will. I appreciate you, sir.
All right.
Thank you.
Cool.